In the southwestern corner of Africa lies a country unlike anywhere else on Earth. Namibia. A land where endless deserts meet the freezing Atlantic Ocean, where trees have stood lifeless for centuries, and where entire towns have slowly disappeared beneath the sand. Its name comes from the ancient Namib Desert, one of the oldest deserts on Earth. But despite its harsh landscape, Namibia is far from empty. Hidden across this vast country are abandoned cities, mysterious coastlines, towering red dunes, strange trees that seem frozen in time, and wildlife that has learned to survive against impossible odds. By the end of this documentary, you'll discover why Namibia isn't just one of Africa's most beautiful countries. It may also be one of its most extraordinary. Long before the pyramids of Egypt were built, long before the first humans began recording history, the Namib Desert was already here. Scientists believe this is one of the oldest deserts on Earth, shaped by wind, time, and climate over tens of millions of years. Its towering red dunes are among the highest in the world, some rising more than 300 meters above the desert floor. From above, the landscape looks almost unreal, an endless sea of red waves stretching to the horizon. But hidden within this ancient desert lies a place even stranger, where time itself seems to have stopped. Deep within the Namib Desert lies a place so unusual that many first-time visitors believe it belongs on another planet. This is Deadvlei. At first glance, it looks completely lifeless. A vast white clay pan, surrounded by towering red dunes. And scattered across it are the black remains of ancient camel thorn trees. These trees died hundreds of years ago, after the river that once reached this place changed its course. Without water, life came to an end. But the trees never completely disappeared. The air here is so dry that the wood never fully decayed. Instead, the trees remain standing, almost exactly where they died centuries ago. In a country filled with extraordinary places, Deadvlei may be the closest thing to a frozen moment in time. But Namibia's next chapter tells an even darker story, where the ocean became a prison for hundreds of ships. Stretching for nearly 500 kilometers along Namibia's Atlantic coast lies one of the most unforgiving places on Earth, the Skeleton Coast. Here, the freezing Atlantic Ocean collides with one of the world's oldest deserts, creating thick fog that can appear without warning. For centuries, sailors struggled to navigate these waters. Hidden sandbanks, powerful currents, and dense fog turned even routine voyages into deadly traps. Those who survived the wreck faced an even harsher reality. Behind them stretched an endless desert. In front of them, the freezing Atlantic Ocean. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Many never made it home. Their ships slowly rusted away, leaving behind silent reminders of nature's overwhelming power. Even today, the Skeleton Coast remains one of the most isolated and mysterious coastlines on Earth. But perhaps Namibia's strangest story wasn't lost at sea. It was buried beneath the sand. Deep in the Namib Desert, the remains of an entire town are slowly being swallowed by sand. But this wasn't always a ghost town. More than a century ago, people came here chasing something buried beneath the desert. Diamonds. And what followed was almost unbelievable. A settlement rose in one of the harshest environments on Earth, complete with homes, shops, a hospital, and everything a growing community needed. For a brief moment, it seemed as though this impossible town had conquered the desert. But the diamonds didn't last forever. As the mines began to run dry, the people slowly disappeared. And then, the desert began taking the town back. Today, Kolmanskop stands as a silent reminder that no matter how wealthy or powerful people become, nature always has the final word. Not everything in Namibia is slowly disappearing. Some of its oldest symbols are still standing, silently watching the desert change around them. Known as the quiver tree, this remarkable plant has adapted to survive in one of the driest environments on Earth. Its thick trunk stores water, helping it survive long periods without rain, while its unique shape protects it from the harsh desert sun. And nowhere's that determination more visible than in Namibia's greatest wildlife sanctuary. After endless deserts, abandoned towns, and ancient trees, Namibia reveals a completely different side of itself. A place where survival doesn't belong to the strongest, but to those who can adapt. Covering more than 22,000 square kilometers, Etosha is one of Africa's greatest wildlife sanctuaries. Yet, for much of the year, life here depends on something surprisingly small: water. As the dry season takes hold, animals from every direction begin making the same journey, not toward food, but toward the few remaining water holes that keep them alive. For most of the year, Etosha looks almost lifeless. A vast white salt pan stretches to the horizon, where heat shimmers above the ground, and rain is often nowhere to be found. But beneath this harsh landscape, life is quietly waiting for its chance to survive. As the dry season grows harsher, animals begin arriving from every direction, not searching for food, but for something even more valuable: water. At these water holes, every visitor shares the same goal: to drink before the opportunity disappears. For a few quiet moments, predators and prey often stand only meters apart. Because here, survival depends on taking risks. Every journey, every drop of water, and every new sunrise becomes another victory against one of Africa's harshest environments. But Etosha is only one chapter of Namibia's story. Beyond these water holes lies another landscape that tests life in an entirely different way. Just when you think Namibia has nothing left to surprise you, the earth suddenly opens beneath your feet. Hidden in southern Namibia lies Fish River Canyon, the largest canyon in Africa, stretching for more than 160 kilometers across the landscape. From above, it almost looks as if the earth itself has cracked apart, leaving behind a landscape shaped over millions of years. Every cliff, every curve, and every layer of rock tells a story that began long before humans ever walked this land. Standing here, it's almost impossible to understand its true scale, because no camera can fully capture what your eyes can see. Unlike the famous Grand Canyon, Fish River Canyon remains surprisingly quiet, allowing nature to speak for itself. From endless red dunes to trees frozen in time, from abandoned towns swallowed by sand to one of the greatest canyons on Earth, Namibia is a country that constantly reminds us of one simple truth: the world's greatest wonders aren't always the most famous. Sometimes they're simply waiting for someone curious enough to discover them. And perhaps that's what makes Namibia one of the most extraordinary places on Earth.